All right, guys. So about about a week ago, over a week ago, I think this happened on Monday or Tuesday, last Monday or Tuesday. Shockwaves went over Twitter, went over film Twitter. I remember I was at work, checked my phone real quick, just went on Twitter to see what was happening, and it was like World War III had just broken out. Of course, not as serious as that, but for film Twitter, it was the Batgirl movie starring Leslie Grace that was going to be on HBO Max exclusive. It was going to be an HBO Max exclusive. I believe it was actually supposed to come out this December. It was supposed to come out this year. It was supposed to come out in just a few months, if I remember correctly. Warner Brothers took the movie, walked over to the trash can, and just dropped it in there. Batgirl is no longer going to be coming out. Understandably so. This really set some people off. This and I won't rewrite history. I was floored. I was floored by the decision. I could not believe that they were doing this. Because I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna be honest. I'm going to be honest. While Batgirl was not in my most anticipated list of the year, it was really close to making it in there. I was really looking forward to seeing what they were gonna do with Batgirl. And instead, they decided to just throw it out. Now, we have had time since that happened because when that happened, everyone was like, "What's going on?" and losing their minds. We've had some statements come out. We've had some more information come out since then. So this comes to us from the folks at Vanity Fair. Um, the movie, starring Leslie Grace as the crime fighter, was abruptly shoved this week despite being in the midst of post production, leading to an uproar online as fans fear they might never see the nearly finished movie. On an earnings call Thursday, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav was unapologetic about the decision. The decision. Yeah, I'd say he was. Here's what David Zaslav had to say. Our objective is to grow the DC brand, to grow the DC characters, but also our job is to protect the DC brand, he said. Listen to that wording again. Our objective is to grow the DC brand, to grow the characters, but our job is also to protect the DC brand. So that's shots fired at Batgirl. Let's be honest. And they said this movie was bad. He goes on to say, or the article goes on to say, that was in response to a question about why the Batgirl movie was killed so late in the process. Unnamed sources have said in some media reports that studio executives were not happy with the direction of the film and they were unwilling to invest more to fix it, choosing instead to take a tax write off by abandoning it. So I kind of looked into this a little bit after the announcement was made. So basically, Batgirl was a $75 million production that was greenlit. The decision was made to make this movie by the old CEO, by the old runners the old runners at Warner Brothers. David Zaslav, when Discovery bought Warner Brothers, he became CEO. He took over Warner Brothers. So those people that made the decision to make this movie and the people that made the decision to make the Flash movie and all these other movies, they're now gone, and David Zaslav and his people are there taking over. So they decided that this $75 million project of Batgirl ballooned to about $90 million with reshoots and all this stuff. And they decided that they didn't like the picture. They thought it was bad. They thought that it was not the direction that DC should be going in. They thought it was embarrassing to DC, basically. So they decided instead of putting more money in to fix it, because they said it was embarrassing to put on streaming, but not good enough to put on a theatrical release, which I thought they were going to make this movie theatrical. Boy, was I wrong. They decided to just cut their losses and take it as a tax write-off. And what a tax write-off means is that they can never release this movie. So all those fans that fear that they're never going to see this movie, they have reason to be afraid. Once they have this movie be a tax write-off, they're legally not allowed to distribute or make this movie seen to the public. It is never allowed to come out unless someone is brave enough to steal the hard drive and bootleg it onto, online. We will never see this movie. And even if they do, this movie's principal production was done. They had the movie shot, but it was in post production. The effects aren't done. The movie isn't exactly put together yet. So there really wouldn't be much of a movie to watch. Let's go back to this article. Uh, To end the article, or at least the parts that I pulled, David Zaslav had to say, and this is a quote: "We have done a reset," Zaslav said. "We've restructured the business where we're going to focus, where there will be a team with a 10-year plan focusing just on DC. It's very similar to the structure that the former Disney studio chief Alan Horn and former Disney CEO Bob Iger put together very effectively with Kevin Feige at Disney." So basically, what they're saying is we're gonna copy Marvel. We're looking over at the Marvel guys and we're going, we like what they have. In fact, we even like that they have Alan Horn. Let's take that guy. Let's bring him over to our team and let's get him to do what he did with Marvel. Now, I mean, that's not exactly what happened. Alan Horn went over there willingly, as far as I know. But basically, that's what they're doing though. And business wise, you look at Marvel, you see the success they're having, you think that's what we want to do, we want to copy that. I mean, it makes sense to do that, but DC tried to do that before with the old people at Warner Brothers. That's how we got Man of Steel, then Batman versus Superman, then Suicide Squad, and all this jumbled mess. I've liked where DC has been at this moment, where their universe is kind of connected when they want it to be, but they never really make direct references to other movies. Like, yeah, Black Adam is a character that interacts with Shazam, but the movies don't necessarily have to connect right away. Maybe we wait down the line to bring them in. Like, we don't have to just bing, bang, boom off the other one for this movie to be in the same universe. At the same time, I like that they've been doing with like Joker and the Batman, having these separate movies, the separate universe, and I don't think they're going to stop doing that, to be clear. But I just don't understand on some level why they want to go back to trying to replicate the success of Marvel, because he says it here. We want to build a team with a 10-year plan focusing just on DC. That's exactly like he says here what Kevin Feige does, a 10-year plan. It's not bad to have a plan. We've been asking for DC to have a plan, but I feel like DC was getting into a position where they were starting to stand out from Marvel the way that they were doing their universe. And now I feel like they've kind of backtracked back into Marvel's shadow by doing this. But anyways, when this movie got scrapped, the directors and some other cast members did release some photos of Batgirl and on the set, and some images from the movie. And one of them we got from the directors is this one. In this picture, we see Batgirl Leslie Grace meeting Michael Keaton's Batman for the first time. Oh, assumingly the first time. It's the first time we're seeing it. Some guy in the middle. I don't know who he's supposed to be. I'm sorry. And looking at this photo, I gotta admit, it looks kind of cheap. I mean, it doesn't look bad. Don't get me wrong. This does not look awful to me. It definitely doesn't look movie quality to me. Even the costuming doesn't necessarily. I mean, it's not the best look at them, but it not necessarily CW look, but it does look TV. And this was supposed to be for streaming. This was essentially a TV for made movie, so it makes sense that it looks like that. But it kind of becomes a question with people freaking out about Batgirl being canceled. And this is a question I've asked myself since the cancellation has been announced. They say this movie was bad. They watched it, they saw it, they said this movie is not good. This movie does not fit into making the DC brand look great in people's eyes. It's just an embarrassment. We're going to get rid of it instead of trying to fix it and making it work. Now, on the one hand, it's kind of like well, let's bring a popular character that's been on this channel for a little bit into this question. It's like a would you rather kind of question. Would you have rather never have seen Morbius? I mean, we all know how bad Morbius was. I mean, believe me, we all I know how bad Morbius was. Um, but is it better that we got that movie made, they distributed it, and we saw it, and we could see that it was bad, and now we have it forever to make fun of and roast and never forget how truly awful Morbius is, which in effect is making us look at Sony's Spider-Man-less universe in a bad light? Or would we rather have had them watch Morbius, say, wow, this movie sucks, and never let us watch it? Now, obviously, there's going to be that curiosity killed the cat thing where we're always going to want to see it. I still want to see Batgirl. They can tell me it's awful. They can tell me how terrible it is, that this is an embarrassment. You don't want to see this movie. We're going to throw it away. And I'm still going to sit here like, yeah, but let me make up my mind. I want to see it. They could have been saying that about Morbius. Hey, Morbius is awful. Okay, this is a bad movie. We are not going to release this. And I'd be sitting there like, I want to see it. Show me Morbius. I deserve it as a fan, you know? And sometimes it's like, oh, be careful what you wish for. And that could have been a case with Batgirl. Could have been a case with Batgirl. Now, um, while I do think that there's merit and belief to them saying that this was an awful movie and that this movie was just bad, a conspiracy theory kind of came into my mind over the last week as I was thinking about this and mulling it over. And I'm not saying that this is what actually happened or that I think this is what actually happened. I just think it's a little interesting to look at. So they're saying Batgirl was canned on its own merits of just being a bad movie. Well, I propose that this guy had more to do with it than we might think. Because we all know what's going on with Ezra Miller. Um, I'm not going to get into it. That's not what I want to talk about today. The huge problems for them with the Flash, and if you don't know that he's causing problems with them for the Flash, look it up. You'll have a field day. He has caused a big dilemma for the Flash because of his actions outside of the film, the behavior that he's doing right now. Warner Brothers is in a tight position where they feel like they can't put the Flash out in theaters, and I think that's a little bit um, you know, exaggerated, a little bit not merited. I think that they could put the Flash out in theaters and people would watch it. I'd go to watch it. I mean, you're telling me you wouldn't go watch The Flash? If they were putting The Flash out in theaters tomorrow, you're telling me you're not going to buy a ticket, even with everything Ezra's doing. You're not going to buy a ticket to go see The Flash. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you have more more morals than me, but I would go. I'm excited for The Flash. It was in my most anticipated of the list until it got moved to next year. But this movie was supposed to be out already. This movie was supposed to be out in June this past year, and then it got pushed to 2023 next June. And I think there's more to Batgirl's cancellation because of The Flash than we think. Because The Flash is a movie that they don't know when they're going to put it out. Realistically, they say it's going to come out next year in 2023, but they don't know. If they're going to keep waiting for Ezra Miller to clean up his act, who knows when that's going to happen? They don't know when it's going to come out. And Batgirl, Michael Keaton's Batman is introduced in the Flash movie. The whole reason why he's here, the whole explanation of why he's even in Batgirl, is Batgirl in another universe? We don't know. The whole reason we were going to find out why Michael Keaton is in Batgirl as Batman is because he was introduced in the Flash first. So by delaying the Flash, by having the Flash not being able to come out, by not knowing when they can put it out, they also have to play mixed around release schedule with Batgirl. Because you can't have Batgirl come out first without the explanation as to why Michael Keaton is here, because that explanation is in the Flash. So you can't put the Batgirl out before the Flash. And the longer that this movie sits on a shelf and doesn't make any money, the more money that it's going to cost them. So that's one of the reasons I do think that went into canning Batgirl just a little bit. Another reason I think that the Flash has more to do with the cancellation of Batgirl is because of this girl, Sasha Calle. I think that's how you say it. She is supposed to be introduced as Supergirl in the Flash movie. That's where we're supposed to meet her. That's where her character introduction is in the Flash movie. Well, it came out a couple days ago that there was a Supergirl movie being put into development with her. Now, this is rumor. This was never confirmed by Warner Brothers as far as I could find, but a lot of sources, a lot of outlets started putting it out there that this movie was happening with Sasha Calle, and now it looks like rumor that the Supergirl movie is likely to be scrapped by Warner Brothers as well, insiders say. So, you've got Michael Keaton being introduced in The Flash. He's then going to go into Batgirl. They can Batgirl. You've got Sasha Calle, who's supposed to be introduced to Supergirl in The Flash, and now supposedly her movie's not happening either. And there's a third piece of the puzzle to this as well, because I think it was last week as well, around the time that Batgirl was getting canned. Some big speculation went out when Jason Momoa was caught by some fans on the Warner Brothers lot, apparently caught there with Ben Affleck, and Jason Momoa heavily um influenced the thought of us that Ben Affleck is replacing Michael Keaton in a scene in Aquaman 2. Now, there was also some reports or some claims, I won't want to say reports, it's all rumors online that people have been in test screenings for Aquaman 2. And apparently, when Michael Keaton showed up in this scene for Aquaman 2, they were confused. They didn't really understand why he was there. So, that's another movie that has a connection to the Flash movie with Michael Keaton um, allegedly popping up in Aquaman 2. And now they're taking Michael Keaton out of that movie and putting Ben Affleck's Batman in to replace him, probably to play the same scene out the same way like Michael Keaton did, but just with Ben Affleck's Batman or Bruce Wayne. Or maybe this is how they replace Amber Heard. Not how I thought they were going to go about it, but I'm down for it. I mean, but just looking at these pieces, just looking at what's kind of coming out, the fact that they don't know when they can put the Flash out, the fact that they have so much trouble with the Flash, and the Flash is also said to be a really pivotal movie in this DC universe going forward. The Flash movie is supposed to change a lot about the DC universe and supposed to have strong implications on other projects, other movies, some of which we've seen canned here. So, I'm not saying that this is truth. In fact, I have no evidence, real evidence to say that this is any kind of truth. This is just me kind of putting on my tinfoil hat for a second, thinking maybe they're trying to get everything associated with the Flash out of the way. So the Flash is less of a headache for them to finally put out in theaters, put out there for the public. And maybe everything that the Flash does, everything that involves Ezra Miller's Flash, while they still want to put out the movie because everyone at Warner Brothers says that it's a good movie, they're really excited about it, they still want to release it. Maybe they don't want anything in their universe attached to it. So you can't have Batgirl come out. Huh? Huh? What do you guys think? You think I'm nuts? Yeah. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. What do you guys think? Do you guys buy it? Do you think Batgirl was just a crappy movie, so they decided to just toss it in the can? Or do you think more of the story? Do you have some conspiracy theories of your own? Comment down below. Let me know. And what do you guys think? Do you think the Flash had anything to do with the movie being canned, or do you think I'm just crazy? I want to hear all your thoughts and opinions down below. And without further ado, let's take a look at what you guys are saying.